uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
Yo, once again, you're tuned in to World Combat Sports. You already know. Happy Thursday to everyone that's out there, man. Those of you that got up in the morning and you hit the road, man, to go make a living for yourself. Or the ones who out here, taking care of family, taking care of business, retired, doing what you got to do, staying healthy. You know what I'm saying? Keeping out of trouble. The usual. But of course, World Combat Sports Media, man, want to give a big salute to the supporters of the channel. You're the ones that make everything rotate. And, you're the one to bring attention to the channel, man. Whenever you feel free, hit the like button, drop your input into the live chat. We have some issues that we need to address. Now, anyone who follow WCS, I just don't stick to the regularity of what you see on YouTube. I pretty much base my summation sometimes, just off the topic itself and what I'm reading and what I'm seeing and my assessment. You know what I'm saying? It's not scripted or any of that shit. So the biggest topic right now, it seems like it should be Devin Haney and the situation of him going over there to Australia. But yet, I sit up here and I pick and extract certain words people are using. You know what I'm saying? I really I archive certain things that they're talking about, which to me, some of it makes sense and some of it doesn't. I'm not quite understanding why, when it comes to this type of breaking news or whatever the case may be, that YouTube, the YTC, did not have any information beforehand. Why didn't we have information beforehand about this situation? You know why? Because that's how boxing operates. We would think common sense, the way we do business in life, that these administrative duties will be handled proactively. That's with paperwork. That's with due diligence. That's with attorneys, reviewing and revising contractual documentation and all of that. But unfortunately for Team Haney, they're in the news for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? They're in the news for the wrong reasons right now, because if you look back months and months ago, let's just take it to after Kambosos had won the Teofimo fight. And I told you all he was going on a media tour. People think he was waiting to see how Devin Haney looked against JoJo. Nah, that wasn't it. I told you he was waiting on Lomachenko. And that what was it. And I explained to you all, I spoke to Kambosos people in NYC, and they say they was going for the big money. All right. This is off the record. I asked him, do you want to be on camera? No. So what I heard and digested at that point in time told me that Haney wasn't going to be in the picture. I even said that. But hey, I have to go off what Showtime say all the time. What do I know? Because when it boils down to it, you can sit up here and say you spoke to people, but we have the sea blind. You tell them, you know what I'm saying? They see you giving them information, but yet they need other criteria for them as human beings and adults to say, you know what? Uh, should I believe that or not? I just need more people to, I need more people to say the same thing. And that's the same attitude I have. I have that attitude, sort of, kind of. When it comes to certain topics that's broken, that's supposed to be breaking news here, and they believe only one or two people can break news because of numbers, not the ones that's actually talking to people also. So when I spoke to Peter Khan, he told me what he told me. I told y'all that it was all about Lomachenko, and Lomachenko fell out the equation. He fell out the lineup, and he had to be in the dugout due to other political reasons. So when we saw Devin Haney out there, I told y'all, I even did thumbnails on Cambozo. I told you all he was going to be a clown. I told everyone, I said, this dude is not interested in no Devin Haney, man. That's why he kept trying to speak to him and treat him as if he was subordinate. When you saw the media and when they showed them meeting and Haney said he'll fight on Jupiter, he'll fight anywhere. At that point in time, I'm going to assume as a grown ass man, because I don't need no help. As a grown ass man, if someone tells a fighter, say, hey, I'll fight you anywhere on Jupiter, it seems like a plea of desperation to a lot of people, even to Cambosis. You know what I'm saying? Cambosis say, oh, we got him right where we want him. You know what I'm saying? He's willing to do anything, fight us anywhere. Man, we're just going to keep him out there. We're going to keep him out on that limb, and keep on milking it. Keep on stringing them along. And the entire time, they was not looking for Haney. They was looking for Lomachenko. Just like I said. Cambosis went out here on this media tour, and he said he had to see how Haney looked. He had to check out Javante. He really took advantage of this 5 minutes of fame. And then he said he had to see how Lomachenko looked. Like he's the motherfucking man. Now, coming to this point, we have another topic of discussion that's just burning down the headlines right now. It gives us that foggy sense, that foggy visual. Well, now that them, those individuals over there, Australian, the consulate, the TSA, the individuals that handle the visa denied Bill Haney from entering Australia. Now, I'm going to tell you like this, man. When the contract was signed, before the contract was signed, they knew Bill Haney had paperwork. So when I hear the YTC come up here with all these scenario-based, shit as to why, you cannot sit up here and say, well, maybe, Bill didn't want to tell. No, that's not the case, man. I'm telling you. When somebody who's been all around the world, bro, it's not the case. Before they signed the fight, Bill understood what it was with his paperwork, and it had to be some type of conversation. Just like I said last night, they knew that he had this shit. Bill knew he had it. Bill talked to people about that. Devin Haney is signed for a deal with Top Rank, and you think the OG, the triple OG, Bob Arum, the conversation didn't come across those tables? They didn't sit down and have those dialogues on how do we gonna make this happen? Yeah, they did. What's up with the YTC never having the answers, bro? So basically, we have to go out scenario-based, question and answer periods, to get the interaction with the fans. Sometimes it becomes just senseless. Why people put so much effort into believing they're going to become millionaires off YouTube. We don't have the answers. In order for anyone to become and separate themselves on YouTube from the next outlet, they have to have the answers, bro. I'm telling y'all, that's how I think. You have to have, I don't try to have the answers. I don't need to have the answers. But I'm speaking about the larger platforms per se. No one has the answers as to what's transpiring in the sport of boxing. The answers that you have is reactive. You have the answers to who won the fight. You know what I'm saying? We have the answers to the scorecards because they out already, they public record. Or we have the answers to who may be fighting, in the future. We have the basic answers as to the format on how boxing, runs and what the fight cards, and the schedule and everything else like that. And even with that, that's reactive. When we bring up our review, the shit is reactive. This Devin Haney stuff, we knew he signed and they had a press conference. We wasn't even talking about this. Bill was on there with his son. We saw the press conference go down. Nothing was talked about potentially of him not being able to enter Australia. Shout out to Mr. Pass on deck. What's good with it? WCS, I heard that Zab Judah's father might coach Devin now because of the visa situation. Yeah, man. Yeah, that is a point that I haven't gotten to yet. Yes, that is attached to the headlines, Mr. Pass. Shout out to Mr. Pass on deck with it. Salute to you. Shout out to Pettis Financial Solutions. Salute to you. They are about to take that belt. Haney has to get KO, in my opinion. I'm going to get to that. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Salute. Salute my brother Scotty. Salute to you, Bruce. Appreciate you pulling up, OG. How you feeling? Andrew Charles on deck with it. What's good, Andrew? WCS salute. Salute to you, brother. So I'm going to get back to Mr. Pass about the Judah and, Pettis about, Devin Haney happened to get a KO. But when we look at this entire situation, the entire scope of this information, it's almost like most of the live streams that I see, those of you that choose to talk about it, because I'm gonna be honest, it seems like more people have just basically decided to brush this topic to the side. I don't see some of the same channels that were supporting Team Haney very, very strong in the beginning. It seems like they have somewhat dwindled. You know what I'm saying? It has been a reduction in their attention about this situation. And you know what? That happens in the sport of boxing because, people sitting up here and they'll drive that wheelbarrow much as possible in the beginning. And they feel they can dump that load off into something bigger, then they'll keep on pushing it. But time they feel like they have another hill to climb, and that square wheel is just too much for them to handle, they say, you know what? Forget it, man. Forget it. I'm not doing it. And the reason why the frustration kicks in is because YTC don't have the answers to a lot of shit. So when you're reactive to something, you shaking your head and saying, why is this even going down like this? Why couldn't this have been prevented before now? We're 16 days out and his father, head trainer, is being denied entry into Australia, which leads me to something, some way, somehow, this was a revelation a while ago. Now I'm trying my hardest not to come up with any, malign theories, what ifs, you know what I'm saying? All the hypotheticals, the scenario-based conspiracies and all this shit. I can sit up here and say, well, they knew he had the paperwork, obviously. He's a celebrity, so to speak. Bill is a celebrity, whether you want to look at it that way or not. People know him. So, and people know about his record. It's accessible. All right. So knowing that you're about to step over there to Australia for the first time, this had to be a revelation back in the day. Let's not play stupid. This had to be a revelation. This was a revelation. But I'm not here to sit up here and just divulge in damn scenario based conspiracy, bro. Because it becomes frustrating. We're looking at people that handles these logistics at the highest level, like I mentioned. You don't think when they was talking to Bob Arum and Lou DiBella and all them people that were involved, Bill Haney, all these individuals, all these minds who came together, you think they didn't know Bill Haney had a situation that all of a sudden Cambosis win the titles and he want to fight in Australia so bad? See, I can dig with this mental shovel all day long, man. Like I can come up with all these ideas as to them knowing what he had, them knowing that, okay, we need to have this fight in Australia and Bill won't be over there anyway. I want to do they know that? You know, they could have said all that. I want to do Team Haney know that they're not going to be able to get in there because, you know, the 12 plus month sentence, whether you serve the entire time or not. They have strict measures. But then again, you think of it like this, like Devin Haney, he's coming over there for a boxing match. All right. Prior to that, he just need a window, several weeks window to come over there and get the training in, to get acclimated to being over there in Australia. That's all he needs. All right. You think they didn't get together and discuss all this info? Yeah, they did. So it becomes a bit difficult for me to say, well, you had all these adults, these experienced adults, these astute, intelligent adults that are business entities. And they couldn't get this figured out before now. Nah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. This may have been something that was already in stone. There was already significant wedge that they was trying to pull that shit out. They was trying to pull that blade out. Say, okay, let's keep working and working and working. You know, and until somehow Bill decided to come out public that he wasn't able to make entry. Now, hopefully, I'm hoping that the powers that be, the approving authority, is able to approve Bill to be over there with his son. Why? Because I'm gonna tell you, if Bill is not able to be over there, and look at it this way, my people, they can get on here and say what they want and think it's all about racism and all this other shit. Listen, if they had this in place before, and they say if you had a record for this amount of time, stop with the freaking racism. All right. Step 2. All right. Powers that be all the time, they create small avenues to bypass policies, rules, and regulations all the time. They do it for celebrities all the time. So I'm believing that Bill, hopefully he's able to get over there, even if it's a week and a half or 2 weeks before the fight, if they can just approve and have him over there. Now, if he's not able, like I said before, if he's unable to make it over there to Australia, it becomes something outside of boxing. Something that doesn't have anything to do with boxing. This becomes a situation where, you know, we want to be deceitful. You know what I'm saying? We want to be antagonistic. We want to, show our power. It's come something way outside of boxing. Because why wouldn't you want to try every measure to get the head trainer over there for Devin instead of having him coming over there without his father? Right? That's number one. Why would you want a piece of the puzzle missing and then believe that the fans over here is gonna shower you with all these accolades for going in there fighting? And let's just say Cambosis win. You think he's gonna get full blown credit? The people are not gonna give you that. But then I have to flip it over and say, you know what, at a point right here, as long as you've been in the sport and what you've been able to accomplish in lightweight division, the team should be solid enough. So that's where the topic of discussion comes in, the subject of Judah. Judah being attached to the team now. I told you last night that at this point in time, at this junction in their career, it should have been individuals on the team that is able to take that leadership role as head trainer. It should have been already. If Bill is not there, it should be somebody in place. If it wasn't somebody in place and you have to have somebody last minute, then guess what? Bill is intelligent enough to be able to make that call and have that person on deck if this happens. You know why I say that? Because Bill understood he had a situation that may prevent him from entering Australia. That's ABC. That's simple as it get. You think he was just kicking back? They scheduled for Australia, the fight is signed, and no one is making him aware that, hey, Bill, have you checked on whether you're gonna be able to get a visa to go over to Australia because you have a prior weight or you got paperwork, you got prior record? No, man, I ain't worried about that. I'm Bill Haney. It didn't go down like that, bro. I'm telling y'all that shit didn't go down like that. People need to understand the shit did not go down like this. They had a conversation. And if it haven't been approved for him to come over yet, then somebody told him to go ahead and break the news. I don't know why Bill broke the news. I would have just kept that shit to 2 weeks. I would have kept, if they're still in the process of trying to get him approved for entry, I would have just kept that shit silent unless it's signed sealed. He ain't going. That can be the only other way that I believe that Bill came out and said he's been denied entry into Australia. It's absolutely, definitively, he's not going. They told him, cut and dry, you're not making entry over here for your son's fight. So now the word is out that Judah will be the head. And that's what plays into what I said last night about Bill Haney and his team and all those voices over there, those individuals who's been in the game for quite some time. This where it comes into play of having a backup plan, having individuals who have the leadership ability to take that role and hopefully make the shit transparent. Now, I'm not saying make it transparent as if, Devin's not going to understand that Bill's not in his corner. No, I'm talking about transparent to the point and being able to give Devin Haney advice during the fight that's conducive to him performing. Let's just say he's doing well at this point, okay, and then he run into some adversity. Would Judah be able to give him the information that he needs? So Devin can go out there and make the necessary adjustments. But when we all look at it, people, you know damn well, like I do, when it comes to boxing, who's in the ring? The red corner and the blue corner. That's who's in the ring, y'all. The red corner and the blue corner. The other individual in the ring, yes, they play a defining role, but right now we're talking about the two fighters. Within those two fighters' thought process, they have to make decisions on their own. We've heard of fighters not listen to their corner, and then we hear fighters listen to their corners. In this particular case, Devin Haney is probably going to do both. It's going to be times that he really pay attention to what's going on in his corner, and it's going to be times that, Devin understands that shit. This is what I work for. This is why I've been in boxing as long as I have, and it's time for me to step up. I hear a lot of voices on here, man, treating Haney like he's still in the cradle and shit. He ain't in the fucking cradle, dog. People just know them as Team Haney because they're father and son tandem. But when it comes down to this journey right here, this art of combat, there's one and one. There's a blue corner and a red corner, bro. Y'all totally understand how that works. It's a blue and a red corner, man. Devin is a grown-ass man. Of all the lives and the channels that's been talking about how good of a boxer he is, how technically sound he is, what his skills are, and everything like that, So now, if you are injecting all this adulation, you giving him all this credit, you're praising him for being able to learn the art the way he has. Then you should praise him with the confidence for him to step in there in Australia with or without his father. I'm being respectful, and I'm just speaking from the heart. You should be able to also praise him for taking that march, because the fight has already been signed. It's not what anybody would want, with what the sacrifice of those type of concessions look like, but it's boxing. And then we have to look at it like, if we're going to praise him for all the gifted physicalities that he possessed in boxing, then you have to also say he's a grown ass man, and he has to go in there to cross the line of departure and go on that battlefield and compete. He has to do it. Now, one thing I want to address about individuals saying they should have turned down the fight. All right. Peep this out. It's easy for us on the outside to say, let's turn down the fight. They should have turned down the fight. Once again, my people, I always got to attach myself, because I'm black too, since day numero second. I'm talking about the first second I popped out. Yeah, you black. I never had a damn doubt. Okay. So I can speak on the shit. So when I hear people saying they should have pulled out the fight, I absolutely 1,000% disagree. For one, Devin is a champion. With championship status, the demands are increased, right? People demand shit of you. They demand an incredible bulk load of responsibilities that you're supposed to go out and accomplish, right? And also they hold you accountable to a higher level. So no way, no how should Team Haney should have pulled out of this fight. If they would have pulled out of this fight, it would have been absolutely destructive, with them going from 35 to 40, or even them resuming their career in 135. It would have imploded in the worst way, man. The fragmentation would have been detrimental. And you ask any person, any military member that's been in war and has shrapnel, some of the shrapnel you're incapable. It's just impossible to remove all of it. This would have fragmented their career so freaking bad, pulling out of one of the biggest fight of the lightweight division, especially for a black fighter like Devin Haney, who had these individuals, these YTC and these media people, at one point speaking about his resume, and they hearing all this, then they start fighting and increasing their level of competition. You know what I'm saying? With the Gamboas, Jorge Linares, and Jojo Diaz, and so forth. Now you get to fight for everything that you've been talking about. What do I mean by everything you've been talking about with Team Haney? Team Haney was talking to Teofimo Lopez, and we've had live after live after live with Lopez Sr. and Bill Haney. Bill Haney, Lopez Sr. And nothing happened from it. All it was is just good viewership. And that has all but fizzled, y'all. Nothing became of it. Now moving forward, Teofimo loses to Kambosos, and Devin Haney gets a shot after Lomachenkos get eliminated from the equation, omitted. So now you saying that just because his pops wasn't able to gain interest to Australia, they should just turn it down when they have an opportunity to really become a legend? This is legendary shit. This is legendary shit we talking about. You want them to pull out of a situation where other boxers in history has been praised. They have been given accolades and clap of hands and everything. People look at them like, oh my God, that's so-and-so. We have had boxers who've had trilogies. And people still talk about this shit to the day. It had some fighters that fought twice. What do we always talk about? Thriller in Manila. We always talk about who Muhammad Ali fought. The Nortons, the Fraziers, Foreman. They always talk about who he fought and what they expected to happen in the fight, but then what the results actually were. So you're saying Team Haney, all because of something that's administrative. This is not something that's fabricated. This is not something that they just created right here, right now, and say, you know what, we're gonna be nitpicky. He wears the color reds too much. That might be some type of affiliation. But some days he wear blue. Yeah, he might be dual affiliation. Is that possible? No, this is not the case. This is something that's been written for years upon years. So you want the team to pull out? That is the most foolish suggestion that you can put out here on YTC. You want this team to pull out of a fight of this magnitude when, once again, we've been talking about this shit since Teofimo Lopez. We've been talking about this shit since Vasil Lomachenko. You know how long Devin Haney has been in the equation? Y'all was up here saying, oh, Lomachenko ducked him. He's supposed to be the mandatory. Okay, boom, let's move on for that. Lomachenko fights who? He loses. Okay, now the interest for Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez didn't work out. Boom. He loses to Kambosos. Now, he was trying to get Lomachenko. Couldn't get that fight. Now he gets Devin Haney. This shit has been long-standing forever. Step after step after step after step. And now you want him to get to that point. Though it's dark. Though this shit is dark and it's raining. It's cold too. Though this contract is one of the worst, you want this man to stand down, bro. Y'all want this man and his team to stand the fuck down as a black fighter too? A black fighter who pretty much was chastised when it came to Mauricio Suleiman, and they was trying to basically dilute the prestige of a WBC coveted title, all because of the franchise belt and the company that he was in at the lightweight division. No other division was going through this shit except Devin Haney. No other division. When somebody in that position as a president rename your belt the Pride belt, that's an insult, bro. That's an extreme insult. Mark Nash on deck. What's good? OTB Boxing. What's good with it, bro? Mark say, no, ain't no pulling out. There's no way in hell as black people we can sit up here and demand that Devin Haney. That's some bullshit, man. That's very disrespectful to anybody who suggests that team should have pulled out to show some type of defiance. When it comes to us, we always showing defiance. And sometimes things that we should be able to walk into, regardless of the challenge, we say it's time to be defiant. A lot of people on this earth can know that black people can be defiant. We've proven we can be defiant. We had to stand up for a lot of things in life. But when it comes to this sport right here and the journey that he's been on, why would anybody suggest that he should have pulled out all because of his pops? No, man. This is bigger than Bill Haney. This fight right here is bigger than Bill Haney. This becomes legendary status if he's able to run a trilogy. Not only win the titles, which has never been done in the lightweight division to this extent, from the franchise title all the way to the WBO to include Devin Haney's title, it's never been done in any division in boxing, period. Legendary shit if Devin Haney defends that shit in the backyard of George Kambosos. He defends it. He moves on to face a former pound for pound, top 2 pound for pound fighter, former top 2 pound for pound fighter, because Devin Haney ain't never been on the pound for pound list. He goes in there and defeat Vasil Lomachenko. His status as a boxer, no one, no way can dispute anything. Anything. They can't say shit no more, dog. It's legendary status right here. Even at one division, Charlo couldn't fuck with him. It'll be a whole lot of unified championships to really say, you know what? Y'all can't fuck with me. I know I'm way out there. Rubber arms, right? I'm way out there with it. But I'm just trying to make a point. I'm trying to exacerbate the means so y'all can understand that. Stop getting on this YTC because you own a mic and saying they should have pulled out in the fines. Fuck all that. If that team pull out from this fight, man, they're going to be blacklisted for years. For years, bro. For years. That will always be the topic of discussion. You had your opportunity, Devin. Why did you feel the need at the last minute to pull out? I mean, you know, you're old enough that you can make your decisions, right? I mean, at 18 years old, you consider the adult, right? So therefore, why would you even consider? You had the grand opportunity to go in there and fight for all the titles like you wanted with Teofimo. They were shredding, bro. So let's eliminate and put this shit in the deepest damn hole possible. Bury it, and stop saying they should have pulled out the fight all because of Papa. When we go into combat, man, you know, some of us are teenagers. Some of us in our early 20s, bro. Our parents ain't there to see us off in the combat. We're already in the military. You pack your payload and you got them go in there and you take accountability. They take a head count and then you start boarding. When you board, it's a wrap. You with your unit. You're serving the country. That's what you signed up for. Devin Haney signed up for boxing. His father been with him every step of the way. But there comes a time when every deployment, you're not going to have your entire team with you. And this is that moment that we know right here. Devin Haney is at a point in his career where he has to separate and go out here on the battlefield without the presence of his father. His father is still there. You know, this is a good thing about being back in garrison, as we call it. They're able to communicate. We have FaceTime. We have all this shit. Bill can actually look at what's going on, you know, and give his feedback over the phone, over video conferencing, telecom, conference calling. There's various ways to communicate all the way up to the weigh-in until the fucking ring walk. Though his presence may not be physical, Bill can still be there remotely. Not so much when the fight start now. But I'm saying all the way up to the point where, you know, if you still trying to cross T's and dot I's and it's the walkout, the ring walk, then you got issues. You know what I'm saying? Cooking with Sir Senior on deck. What's good? They doing all they can to try to rob him. It's sad. I look at it like this in this case. And at my point, you know, I remember when I was young in the game, right? And I was so competitive. And then I used to hear old heads, right? They explain some shit like I'm doing. Well, when I was back, so I try to stay away from that because when they was explaining to me, some of them I did listen to, and then some of them was like, yeah, you know, some of them was like, they just seem happy to tell the story. You feel me? Like, I remember that time. So I really don't like going back as far as certain things I did in life, how competitive I was, and shit like that. I might talk about it every now and then. But the reason why I'm speaking on is because I look at it like this, senior. I don't look at anything as far as being sad. Okay. It becomes sad. Like this is only the first phase of what's going down. Like I said, for the Deontay Wilder situation, his team is going to be absolutely on point. Well, guess what? Devin Haney is not going to have his entire team with him, primarily his father. So they're going to have to make sure everything is on point with the food, the water, the training, keeping Devin safe, everything. They're going to have to do it. I don't see this as anything as far as sad. The reason why I'm saying that is the opportunity is so grand that can change his freaking life. This opportunity can change Devin Haney's life if he's able to go in there and win that first fight. I'm on record. I'm gonna be on record. Like he win the first fight, he goes down on history, regardless of what anybody else say. Teofimo Lopez has a loss right now. Vasyl Lomachenko has a loss right now, man. You have George Kambosos and Devin Haney, two undefeated fighters. Teofimo has since moved up to 140, man. Devin Haney goes in here and wins this fight. He was able to accomplish something that he wanted to do with Teofimo Lopez, who was unwilling to give him the shot. Now he gets the shot under extreme adverse circumstances, because it is adverse, y'all. The contract alone is adverse. He has to fight two. He has to complete the Aussie double. He complete the Aussie single. He become the first to ever do it. The first ever to do it in boxing, because no other division has this format, this setup that's happening right here in the lightweight division, including the franchise title. No other division. None. He become the first to do it. He's in a company just like Pacquiao. Real talk. And I know people say, huh? What do you mean? I'm saying Pacquiao is an 8th division champion. Amanda Serrano, 7-weight champion. There's certain accolades that boxers accomplish as the first. Canelo Alvarez, the first. Right? Let's be clear. Canelo Alvarez, the first. You know what I'm saying? So we have an individual just like Jermell Charlo. You know what I'm saying? We have individuals have been able to complete something the first. But the one thing about this is, speaking of the names I just mentioned, they was the first to do it in a format that's out there already. What type of format would this be to include the franchise belt? Just like I said, it's going to be a format where Devin Haney name is not only going to be in the company of the 4 belt, it's going to be in the company of the franchise, because the franchise isn't going anywhere. So this is legendary type shit if he's able to complete the Aussie single, then the Aussie double, and then he goes up there for the finale. Vasyl Lomachenko is the finale. This is to determine him moving forward. Top dog. He goes in there and defeat Lomachenko because it can be done. Orlando Salido proved it can be done, and Teofimo Lopez proved it can be done. If Devin Haney can get out of the Aussie double and complete Vasyl Lomachenko, he's a legendary status, man. It's done. It ain't no, he don't sell. Who gives a fuck? He would have just completed one of the toughest boxing gauntlets of this era. He would have not only won the titles in the backyard of his opposition, he would have defended his titles in the backyard of his opposition, and then went and fought a former pound-for-pound fighter in Vasyl Lomachenko, the golden child, who they're trying to get those titles back into his hands, right? Defeat him, and then he just changed his level. He's levitating already. He come off the Aussie double, he's levitating. He's levitating already. But for him to go to the clouds, he defeat Vasyl Lomachenko, you ain't gonna be able to tell Team Haney shit. Shit, bro. So let's do away with. They should just pull out the fight and fight who? Rolly? Who they should pull out the fight? Ryan Garcia? It will be an absolute embarrassment. They ain't trying to pull out a shit. Goddamn, take that shovel, dig your fighting hole, come up with a goddamn solid game plan, because we all know that George Kambosos is not that super special boxer. Come up with a game plan that you've been taught all these years and go in there and enforce that shit on George Kambosos. Fight a smart fight. I felt that Bivol fought a smart fight against Canelo. I thought Bivol fought a very smart fight against Canelo Alvarez. That's all I'm saying. So I just want to make it a point, like, to close this shit out. I just wanted to make a point with this YTC. It doesn't make any sense to keep coming up with scenarios that's not going to change anything about this. And y'all shouldn't make all these suggestions on what a fighter should do in this case, because it's too big of a fight. It's too big of an opportunity for a fighter like Devin Haney, who has a name, to pass up. It's too huge. It's ginormous when you look at it. This opportunity is like standing on the cliff of the Grand Canyon, man. He completes these 2 fights and come up out of there with all those titles. It really separates him from anyone in the lightweight division. And then he's going back in there. He's going back in there to fight for Vasyl Lomachenko in the 3rd fight, who didn't even unify the entire lightweight division. He chose to vacate and get franchised. I wonder how he's feeling about that. I wonder how that worked out for you there, Lomachenko. He decided to vacate. Even though I've heard this, that, and about why he vacated, he never fully unified the lightweight division. So now, if Devin comes in there with all the freaking belts, it's just going to be on a whole nother level. Finally, he's going to get the biggest paycheck of his career. I think, well, I'll take that back. Let me moonwalk a little bit. I don't know. The way this shit is lined up is very, very sketchy, y'all. I don't know how that shit is. Just let me bag the fuck out of that. There's a whole lot of shit going on with that triple. You know what I'm saying? That trifecta that they're going. I don't know what he gonna get paid with Lomachenko. But if he pick up the W, then it's cool. But man, that's pretty much what I got for now on this. I'm not trying to stay on here that long, but I just listen to this shit. I'm like, hey, YTC in a nutshell don't have the answers for what boxing is doing. It ain't no breaking news. If it was breaking news, where did the news come from? It ain't no breaking news, dog. Not on the YTC, because the news is already out. Whenever I see breaking news out here, I always look, or I have seen the news already out somewhere. It's no thing of on the YTC is breaking news. You know why? Because we're not the first responders. You know, the first responders are the Mike Competers. You know what I'm saying? The Dan Raphaels, the Keith Ioli, and all them cats. You know, they're the first responders who's able to get this information. And then they put it out on a tweet, or it breaks out on somebody else's news media outlet. That's how it is. But food for thought. This Bill Haney shit just didn't pop out of the sky. All right. Number 2, I know y'all feeling some type of way about the concessions and sacrifices that are made in this contract, but only Bill Haney and Devin Haney understands why they signed their name to the dotted line for such a rigorous type of contract, and then the stipulations that's behind it. A one-way rematch clause that doesn't benefit Devin Haney if he loses. That's tough. That's motherfucking tough, y'all. That's extremely tough. That's extremely tough. You have to win. It's no option. It's elimination. Elimination. It ain't no go back around and fight somebody on the wild card. No, you're eliminated. And then looking at it this way, if he wins, he had to defend it in the backyard of Australia again. So we would need to look at all the circumstances that may play out in this first fight. We wanna be positive, but we don't see so much bullshit that goes on in boxing. We're trying to determine who's going to be the referee, how much of a role is the referee going to play in the backyard of George Cambozo. Will it be so obvious to the point where he's going to be the third man in the ring and Devin had to fight the referee and he has to fight Cambozo? And then will something transpire to the point? Here we go with scenario-based conspiracy theories, right? Will it get to a point where the referee is playing such a significant role in the fight that influences the result? It's possible that we might have a controversial decision on hand. I know Pettis, had mentioned, I believe he's the one that said Devin has to knock him out. Listen, let's do away with the knockout. The reason why I'm saying do away with the knockout is because Devin Haney is not that guy. All right. Teofimo Lopez hits harder than Devin Haney, and he couldn't knock out Cambozo. All right. But we all know Devin is not that knockout artist. He has knockouts on his records, but I don't see him going the distance with JoJo, going the distance with Linares, and going the distance with freaking Gambo. Come on, stop the madness, bro. Stop it. He ain't knocking out George Kambosos. So now we got that cleared up. He has to fight just like Dimitri Bivol did against Canelo and make it clear and cut and dry that he won the fight. Now, Bivol proved that you can go in there and fight somebody with the face, you know what I'm saying? With the face of a Canelo, top pound for pound, and win. If you do everything you're supposed to. So Devin's going to have to make that applicable to his performance in this fight. Go in and do everything possible to get this the cards on your side. So it will be no ifs, ands, or buts. So if they rob you, people are like, man, fuck that. They robbed him. Devin's still going to get the credit. Though it be minimal credit when it comes to him not having the belts, he's still going to get the credit. It's like, hey, we knew this shit was coming anyway. It's not like everybody who goes over in these neighboring countries and shit gets robbed. But there are some that have been robbed. This is a big fight. This is a big fight, people. I agree 100% on how you just broke that down. I appreciate you, bro. I don't really get into the dollar aspect of how much Haney is getting, but I know he's taking a monetary amount that's at a lower scale than what we would even think about, in a fight of this magnitude. Like, I don't get into the numbers because you really don't know truly. When I look at the numbers of these fighters and what they're getting paid, they have to pay people. All right. So whatever he's getting, he has to pay the people, and then he has to pay Uncle Sam, and then he takes that home. I don't know the numbers, and I don't care. I don't care. All I want to see is the results. Because if he's able to earn these results like I spoke about, then it sets him up to not even really, for nobody to question how much he's getting paid. Like when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, no one questions that you have individuals trying to make a backdoor deal of $100 million, because that's Canelo. They're trying to throw money at his feet just so they fighter can get in there and fight him. So Devin Haney, if he's able to complete this, then guess what? We're not having people on the man. Why he talking about? You know how they said, and even I mentioned one time, you know how they said that the Haneys was outpricing themselves? It's a good and a bad to that. When you take on any job, you start off at a certain hourly wage or annual salary, right? You start off with that. Now, as you continue to work in that, you're not trying to sustain that. You're trying to increase your numbers, right? You're trying to increase your numbers so much to the point where when you step in there and you ask and you request for that, they look at what your work has been, what your performance evaluations has been, and they say, you know what, you deserve that. That's what I'm talking about with Devin Haney. He's able to complete this shit. Nobody's going to be talking about why he's asking for this or why they should get this amount. They're going to always point back to him being over there in Australia and coming on here defeating Lomachenko. It's going to be absolutely no question whatsoever when they start pricing themselves high dollar that people are going to say, you know what, they don't deserve that. Hell, they don't. You're part of one of the worst contracts that a boxer could ever have going through this gauntlet. The worst. The worst. And you think if I make it up out of this to see the light of day, all the way out the gate, past Lomachenko, you think from here on out, when I move up to 140, I ain't requesting high dollar? Yes, I is. 147? Yes, I is. I keep winning, my amount keeps going up. You have to start from somewhere. You have to fucking start from somewhere, bro. Like, real talk. Who gives a fuck what these people talking about? Well, they don't deserve that. What are you talking about deserve? You're not putting in the labor. So what are you talking about deserve? You're not getting punched in the mouth. So you don't have the right to talk about deserve. And plus, you have to set the bar at one point in time in your life. And no way I'm going to be hypocritical and don't remind y'all on when I advocated about Teofimo Lopez negotiating his contract with Lomachenko up to $2 million. He was a non-PPV fighter, which non-PPV fighters can get something for $1 million and below, or $1 million to $2 million. You know, they really don't get that guarantee money like Crawford. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was unique in his situation. But when it comes to this standard right here, Devin Haney has to set the bar somehow, and they've been setting the bar for a while. Supposedly they was getting paid pretty nice here and there and the other with the zone and shit like that. But we passed that. We have other obstacles and gauntlets in the way that can basically, in the foreseeable future, place Devin Haney on a whole different tier when it comes to what he's worth as a fighter. Just real talk. You say fair play. I don't care about dollars either, but he might be making a few mil from this fight. Castano only made $650K versus Charlo. Damn. Hey, like I said before, you know, I'm gonna pop this question: who is Castano? You know, Castano just recently beat Patrick Teixeira. That JJ like, who is Castano? Castano is linked to Charlo. He was linked to Charlo in that fight. He beat Patrick Teixeira, the former WBO super welterweight champion. They went in there and fought, and it went to a draw. It held his appraisal just a little bit. It sustained it because he put on a great performance. Boom, went back in there, and that is over. He was nothing big. He just was attached to having the night of his life and fighting Charlo the way he did. You know, raising brows of the people that was tuned in. They said, well, who's this guy Castano? And then he went back in there in the rematch, and Charlo did what Charlo does. He stopped him. So now his appraisal is dropped, just like Jared Hurd appraisal dropped, just like J-Rock appraisal dropped, Just like Jason Rosario appraisal dropped. You know what I'm saying? Just like Erickson Lubin appraisal dropped. It happens in the sport of boxing. 650K? Nah. Look, what's crazy about that, right? Is that Regis fought on Triller. He fought Ivan Redcatch and made 800K, dog. look, Regis didn't even have a freaking belt. And they was fighting in a small ring. And Regis came in there and scooped up that bag and kept it moving, you heard? He went back to New Orleans, baby. look, dude didn't even have a belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all in negotiations. That's why I don't care about the numbers, man. That's why I don't care about the numbers. How long has it been since Regis lost his belt before he stepped in there with a Triller card? Castaño had a belt. And if he walked in there, he earned 650K. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? Ugh. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, I don't know, man. You got to pay taxes on that. You got to pay your people. Well, he going to walk up out of there, what? Mid fours and shit? I don't know. I don't know, people. That's a good point. You know what I'm saying? That's a good point. Man, it's always a pleasure, man. I got to do grown man shit. I got to get up out of here, man. Appreciate y'all. Salute everyone who pulled up. Support the channel. You know how it is, WCS Media. Hopefully y'all learned something from the live, man. And y'all turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports, man. I'm out.